today we are discussing the future of pet care and animal protection in Africa. And joining us to unpack this beautiful topic is Dr. Bakare Omolara. Dr. Bakare Omolara is a passionate veterinarian and digital advocate. She combines professional expertise with online education to change how people think about animal welfare. Her voice represents a new generation of veterinarians using social media to bridge knowledge gaps and encourage responsible pet ownership. You see that? Very strong voice. Okay, hello, Dr. Omolara. Are you there? Yes, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's start very simple here. What inspired you to become not just a veterinarian, but also a digital advocate for animal welfare?
I'll say my passion for veterinary care started from empathy, saying that animals cannot talk. So I felt a need to be able to be their voice. That was my first. That was what prompted me to love veterinary medicine, and the fact that I can provide care to animals that many times they have no one to care for them, and they can really not tell you what is wrong. So that was my motivating factor. I wanted to be a Superman, being able to tell their problems even when they cannot talk. So that was what prompted me to study veterinary medicine. And I remember there was a time my mom lost some poultry birds, and I kept wondering, why did these birds die? So I told myself that someday in the future, I'm going to find out what killed those birds, and I'll come back and tell my mom that I know why these birds died. So it was more reason I loved veterinary medicine. And another reason I started digital advocacy for veterinary medicine is I found out there is a gap between those that need veterinary care and veterinary professionals. So I want to bridge that gap along with others. But I saw that we do not have so many people in that space, and I choose to fill that vacuum as much as I can.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. But in many African homes, pets are loved, but not always understood, just as you rightly said. So from your experience, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about pet care on the continent?
Okay, one of it is that pets are just animals, like they can live and die anytime. And I feel pets they are more than just animals. They are a part of us. They are part of nature. They are one of the balances in the ecosystem. So another major misconception about people with pets are you can always kill them. They are food, and not all animals are food animals.
Yeah.
We have pets. We have food animals. For example, dogs. Dogs should not be classified as food animals. They are pets. But in this part of Africa, dog is food to some people, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Dr. Lara, so I had to just jump in here because I was just laughing the minute moment you said it. Okay, but I know there are so many things you've observed in your experience as being a vet person, right? Now you mentioned dogs. Growing up, I mean, in schools, what they used to teach us is domestic animals and wild animals. But right now, it's as if they've closed the gap. We now have wild animals as domesticated animals in the house. So I think that's where confusion is. But give us some of the experiences that you've had as regards to people's pets.
Sorry, as regards what?
Pets, how people to take care of their pets. Some have wild animals now as pets.
We do not have that kind of drama in Africa so much. There are some animals that they are wild animals and should be in the wild. And there are some animals that are termed domestic animals. So there has been quite a number of influx of wild animals into... I just believe there are some animals that cannot be domesticated. But in the Western countries, you still have so many people trying to, domesticate some animals. I don't think, to me, some animals should be in the wild, while some should be domesticated. That gap, there is still a very huge gap. And people are beginning to breach that little gap, and it's like it's causing problems.
So,
I don't know best to explain it.
let's call you Dr. Doolittle, because I mean you're talking about having to communicate with pets and then telling you. I hope they speak languages that you understand. But meanwhile, people have challenges managing the even pets that they have in the house. What are the common mistakes that many of them make?
Okay, one of them is humanizing pets. Many people are, of course, they are pets, but they are not humans. Mm-hmm. And one of the major ways they humanize pets is feeding pets food that are meant for humans. And they tell you, they can also eat them. Mm-hmm. But no, it doesn't work that way. They are pets. They are GIT, the way they process food, the way they process things is different from humans. Another problem, another mistake people make is, self-medication. They just go to Google, oh, my dog is vomiting. They just go, or they have a neighbor that has a dog, and they just, my dog is vomiting. And that one tells them, the last time my dog vomited, I gave this. The way people self-medicate and abuse drugs, they also do the same with their pets. Another major thing people do is, they don't care about vaccinations. They tell you once they are eating, they are fine. There are so many informations out there that when you hear some of them, you're just wowed, like, oh, really? What part of the world did you hear this from? And, many pet owners still need to understand that no matter how little your pet is and no matter how knowledgeable you are, you will always need a veterinarian, Right. And I think that's one of the major problems we still face with pet care in Africa, mostly.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Omolara. Now, this is Africa, and we have to accept certain things. There are so many people who really want to bring in pets into their homes, but there is still this African mindset, maybe thanks to some of our movies that have made some pets look like devils. Like they see some animals, cats and all that, when you see them, they are, in fact, it sends wrong signals to some persons. They see these animals as bad luck. When people see cats, they tell you cats are bad luck, especially the black ones. How do we change this mindset?
Really need is information. Education does not end in the classroom. Putting out this information all the time. The more people see these things, the more it begins to sink into their subconscious. There was a way those mindsets, those beliefs got into our system. And one of it is because we keep hearing people say them. Our forefathers say it, our grandparents say it, cats are mysterious, they are devils. We can also change this mindset by giving out the right information. When we have more people in this space giving out the same information, over time, I believe people will adjust to the norms. Those mindsets, it didn't just get there one day. It's from Nollywood, traditional system of doing things. Yeah. So I believe over time, we can change these things. When the government also needs to help in situations like this, because we need more bodies to help disseminate this information that cats are not bad laws. Okay.
Does the government really care about animals in Nigeria? Do you think the government really care?
That's the problem in Nigeria. In fact, more important things they don't care. Like, we feel things that even has to do with humans, we have to beg them. Even the ones you beg them to do, they do not do. How much more pets? But then we still need them. Now, beyond the government, we need veterinarians to also stand up, to rise to the challenge, to rise to the occasion. We need non-governmental organizations, animal welfare groups as well, to, be a voice for animals, be a voice to change what we see as the norms. We need all hands on deck. Yeah. We need teachers, and many of these educations, we can start from the grassroots, start from schools, start from the home, from the family. Let parents teach their children that, okay, this is the right thing. Cats are not devils. They are not demons. Then, when they keep hearing these things from home, in schools, we just need everybody. to pass this information around.
Dr. Lara, I'm so sorry. I have to drag this. I will drag you in this one because you started this thing on Twitter, and I said no. When I have this interview with you, I was going to ask you this question. Speaking of the kind of food that we give our pets, and I'm going to specifically dogs, right? Many of us are used to, maybe from the movies that we've watched or interactions that we've seen from cartoons and everything, that dogs love bones. You came on Twitter and then you told us not to feed our dogs bones. We're going to have that conversation now. Please explain.
Okay. I think I said it in that same post on Twitter that the beginning of this problem was that wrong adage that the patient's dog eats the patient's dog. I think that was
really yeah. Okay.
Because the general belief is that bone contains calcium, which is correct, but not given in the form with which we give bones. We compound, like for animal feed, we had bone meals. The dry bones, there is a way the bone is processed and it is added to feed, meaning you can get the calcium from that bone in the feed. The problem in Africa is that we believe you have to give that bone directly to your dogs for them to get the calcium. Now, there are so many risks involved with giving bones. Let's start from choking. I've seen so many cases of dogs choking from bone ingestion, like when they eat bones. Their throats, their esophagus is tiny. And, when they want to swallow these bones, it can just stay there and they're unable to take it out and it cannot go further. And in cases like that, they can choke, it can perforate their GIT, and it will lead to an emergency. So it's just it's a drama we can avoid. And in this part of the country, we really cannot afford that emergency care to care for a dog that's eating bones. So the problem is how we give the bones. If the bone is properly processed, like into the powdery form, and another problem we have is the calcium is not actually from chewing bone. I mean, do you eat bones all the time? Are you not fine? I don't know if you understand me. So you really don't need to eat that raw bone to get the calcium. Another problem in Africa is we give raw bones without cooking, without doing anything. They'll tell you they are wild animals. Raw bones can contain microorganisms like salmonella, like Escherichia coli, especially with the way we process meat in Nigeria. Have you been to abattoirs? Have you seen the way they process cows? All of these things, they pass them through the floor. Like they're on the floor, so many organisms can, just rest on them, and we just carry the same bones like that with all the baggages, and, we feed our dogs. So sometimes we introduce infections, which we can do without.
Now, talking about these infections, right? And I mean, pets have to now live with most of us in our houses. How do we prevent human or animal to human transmission of some of these things? Because I saw a video, and I know you commented on it as well, where they were padding a baby in the fecal matter of an animal. And I don't know what the ritual that was, but you commented on it and you were giving an analysis. Please explain.
Okay, and so there's what we call zoonotic diseases, which are diseases you can transmit from humans to animals or from animals to humans, Okay. So as pet owners, we are at risk of contacting infections and diseases from our animals. Okay, let me first start from that baby they put inside that ruminal content. Now, the rumen contains normal microorganisms that are microflora in the rumen, meaning they are organisms that they do not cause harm to the animals, but they are just in the rumen. They help in fermenting food, in processing the foods. But when these microorganisms escape from the rumen, when they get outside, or when humans come in contact with them, they become pathogenic, meaning they can cause diseases to humans because we are not their natural host, and that is not where they are meant to be. So which was why I commented on that baby's picture that they are exposing that baby to lots of organisms, which normally might not kill the animal that was harboring it. Yes. But once it gets into humans, it becomes a problem. They become pathogenic. Okay. So as pet owners, one of the things we can do is every time you come in contact with your animals, make sure you wash your hands. And we advise that for people that have little children, medicine tells us that their immune system is lower, so they are more prone to infections, meaning infections you as an adult can come in contact with and your immune system can fight it. These children's immune system might not be able to. So we advise that for every contact you have with your animals, whether as an adult, whether as a child, make sure you wash your hands properly, you have sanitizers, and you make sure that your dogs too, you bathe them regularly. And there are some infections that they void through their feces. And let's say you're the one who cleans everywhere. Make sure when you are done cleaning, you wash your hands properly with soap and water. You practice proper hygiene when dealing with pets.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Omolara. We really appreciate your insights so far. Now, we'll be talking about the pets that lives with us at home, how we take care of them, how we should treat them when they're sick, and how to keep a very good hygiene. Now, let's go out. I've seen stray pets, stray animals on the streets of Lagos. In other places, I have seen that there are people who go out looking for stray dogs, stray cats, and they bring them home for them to be well taken care of. The ones here, are there homes? Are there people who go out looking for stray cats, stray pets, to give them a home? And I have also seen people going to those kind of homes to adopt those stray pets. Do we have that kind of system in Nigeria, in Africa generally?
I think some people do that. Well, it's not just very common. When I was working in Lagos, I've seen like 2 to 3 people do that. They pick dogs from the streets and they bring them to the clinic and they tell you they want to adopt them. They don't know the owner, a couple of. But it's very scarce in Africa because we do not have animal shelters. In developed countries, they have systems like this where the government picks up stray dogs and they keep them in a shelter home, like they keep them there, and people who need them go to those places to adopt them. But in this kind of system where the government is not ready to help us, I believe it's up to us. There are people who do it, but they are just very few. They are like 1% of the population. And I think another major reason why we don't have people doing this so often is the cost. Everybody's trying to survive in Africa, especially Nigeria. So many people, they feel like, if I pick a dog now and I cannot feed the dog properly and I don't have money to take care of them, I think that's one of the major factors people are running away. But if you have a system whereby, I just feel we need help. We need governments, we need non-governmental organizations to set up shelter houses, shelter homes for stray animals like that, where people can always go. But we don't really have so much. That's the problem. And another problem is in Africa, people believe, if I should also carry one dog now, what if the dog has some kind of spirit? I just believe it's based on our belief system, which was why I said earlier that we need to educate people more on pet care. We need more people to advocate for pet care and why we can pick these dogs from the streets and, just bring them into our homes. We just need to help people see reasons why they should do it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Omolara. I will take you back to something you said earlier on when you were talking about cultural values or traditions, where some people eat dogs, for example. Now, you cannot take that, when it comes to culture, when it comes to traditions, it is especially when it is not a harmful one, it is very difficult to take it away from people's lifestyle. So you're saying now that we as Africans, Nigerians, that believe that, yes, dog is a meat, is food. How do you convince those kind of people, or how do you go on changing the mindset of people who have lived with that for centuries, donkey years, that this meat, delicious meat, I shouldn't eat it anymore. All of a sudden, that meat has to go away. How do you convince people to stop that? Because we are trying to ensure that we do not throw away our cultural values. And at the same time, we're trying to see how animals, domestic animals that live with us, how they can be protected. How do we ensure that these two are done properly without anyone feeling left out?
I think the number one way to do that is education. We are not trying to rob people of their culture. We are not trying to to abolish all these cultures. But in the real sense, cultures like this needs to be abolished. The more we begin to see pets as family,
like the values of eating dog, which is a good protein for the body, should be abolished.
Yes. Yes.
I like that very action.
As families.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, capital yes. It should be abolished, totally abolished. Because you see in foreign, have you seen stories of dogs, of pets, where their owners die and they give all their properties, their will, they give it to their animals. And it's because they see these animals as family. The more we begin to see pets as family, the less we feel inclined to eat them. You know, you won't eat a child. So when we begin to see, the more we begin to see them as a part of our society, the more we begin to see them as a part of us, the less we are inclined to eat them. There are other meats, there are other sources of protein. There is cow meat, there is pork. Why dog meat?
I mean, if there were no dogs.
But anyway, but Dr. Lara, I was not going to come down. I mean, since we're talking pet care, I want us to be particular about it, because sometimes we might see signs in our dogs and we'll probably even know that it's a problem, and we'll just think maybe the dog is healthy.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it just fall into particular ailments and we don't know how to go about it. For example, you were talking about the kind of vaccinations or different kind of vaccinations a dog should have, or a certain pet needs to have at certain ages. Please explain some of them, because you're talking about one that had the dogs removing catarrh from their nose and something like that, so that you don't know the ones kids or adults can transmit from your pet. Explain some of these elements that they might have and necessary vaccination they should have.
Okay, the most common one we have is DHLPP. The most common disease we've seen in Africa, in Nigeria, is parvo. Have you heard of parvovirus?
No.
It's like one of the most common disease in Africa. So for parvovirus, it is expected you give a vaccine, which is a multivalent vaccine. The vaccine contains distemper virus, hepatitis, leptospirosis, parvovirus, and parainfluenza. Now, this disease, once you can give those vaccines, ideally you are expected to give 3 shots of the DHLPP vaccine. And it is expected that once you've given the 3rd shot, your dog is immune for the next 1 year.
Wow.
So you repeat that vaccine after 1 year. Another very important one is the rabies vaccine, because rabies is a zoonotic disease. And once there is clinical manifestation in humans, it is fatal. That means that person will most likely die. So rabies vaccine is also a very important vaccine we should give and we are expected to give. Other diseases that can be transmitted from humans to dogs, we have the likes of the leptospirosis, and many times, we can still overlook them if it's just pets that are dying from these vaccines. But when they begin to infect humans, it can also lead to deaths. So the really most common vaccines we give in Nigeria, in Africa generally, is the DHLPP vaccine and the rabies vaccine. Okay. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, you have. But I'm still more concerned, because the truth is, so what happens when you don't give a dog this necessary vaccine? Because the common one we have here in Nigeria is what we call a cookie. I'm trying to find the name for it, but we know it's as those ones we just see on the streets, and they live longer. Many of them don't even have to take any of this vaccination.
Is they are called the Nigerian local dogs, and the truth is they are very hardy. They are our indigenous breeds of dogs. Truth is, it's not like they were also brought from the Western countries, but they've been here for a very long time, and they've adapted to the system and the environment. So they rarely come down with some diseases. Their immune system, in the real sense, when they are here, is stronger than the foreign breeds of dogs. But we should also still vaccinate them. The fact that we now have influx of many foreign dogs, it also predisposes them to some diseases that naturally they might not. That naturally they might not have. But exactly.
Are there laws that actually protect the rights of animals, domestic animals, pets in Nigeria? And if there are laws, are those laws really doing so well in protecting these animals?
Yes, there are the animal dog laws. There are there are quite a number of laws in not just in Africa, even in Nigeria. And it even goes beyond just the nation. There are state laws. There are state dog laws that it differs from state to state. But there are general laws that, that combines everything that has to do with dogs. There are animal welfare acts. There are dog laws of each state and of the federation as a whole. But the problem we have is not just the legislation, it's not just the laws, it is proper implementation. It's not just to, have these laws written out. Do people really get penalties when they flaunt the laws? That's the major problem we have. So there are laws that guide dogs. I posted it on my Twitter platform, I think last week or thereabouts, where I talked about as a dog owner, you are expected to register your dog. But how many dog owners in this country are even registered? As a dog breeder, you should be registered. If your dog should bite someone, there are fines you should pay. You should pay for the medical expense of the person that was bitten. You should, if your dog is not vaccinated, that dog must be vaccinated or killed. If the dog is suspected to be rabid, there are laws that says the government can take that dog from you and kill and slaughter in your presence. In this same nation, there are laws that protect, and this goes beyond just pets, animals. It goes beyond just dogs. Do you know that in this country, have you seen where they transport animals to be slaughtered, like cows, pigs? Do you see how they pack them in those trucks? You see like 50 to 70 of them in just one truck. There are laws that protect those animals. But the problem is not we have those laws. It is written in the Nigerian constitution or the law, whatever law book they use.
Yeah.
But the problem is there is no proper implementation of these laws. There are no bodies that are doing follow-up. The Veterinary Council of Nigeria, I believe they are trying, but I believe it's also their duty to make sure these laws are enforced and people really follow them. So in the real sense, there are laws guiding animal care, there are laws guiding pet care and animal welfare. But many people do not even know, many people are not aware. We need more awareness and sensitization for people to really know the law that guides what they are doing. So I believe it's just people in the profession that knows that truly laws exist. Many people in the public don't even know.
Exactly.
Everybody's just doing, you like dog, you buy, you keep, you feed, they die, you buy another one. That's just the system we've been following, because there are really laws in Nigeria.
Dr. Lara, thank you very much. I know your veterinary skill is quite helpful. We also know that many of you, your specialty are not so many in Nigeria, because it's difficult for some people to even find a vet in their community.
Yeah.
So how do you advise, people in that kind of situation where vet clinics or veterinarians are not so close? How do they manage pet care?
Sorry, I didn't hear your question well.
So in places where veterinarians or veterinary clinics are not so close or not so near, how do you advise people who want to own pets? How can they manage it?
In many states in Nigeria, we have state veterinary hospitals. So, and I believe they're one of the cheapest in the environment. So for people who live in places where you do not have plenty veterinary clinics, I'm sure if they look around well enough, there is a state veterinary clinic close to them. But I've come to believe that you only find what you're looking for. If people are really looking for these things for veterinarians, I believe we have enough veterinarians in the country to go around.
Really?
But many people are, yes.
Okay. With the amount of doctors that are jackbarring from Africa,
No,
Do you
because
think
if humans don't have enough doctors, how come we have enough veterinarians to go around?
Get it?
Veterinarians are not jackpying as much as the human medics. Okay. I believe so. They are not jackpying as much as.
If you were to give an estimate, right? Because I mean, in urban centers, perhaps you might find veterinary clinics or veterinarians around you. But in rural areas, because they also have pets, right? And they are the ones who are more exposed to wilder animals who vets and can take care of. I know even the distance to get to the clinic you're talking about, even if it's a state-owned one, are so far. Why I was asking that question is, what can we do in the interim when there is no doctor?
Well, the world has gone global. I believe we can use social media to know, but then you cannot give diagnosis, for instance, online. It's very wrong. Okay. But there are extension services in almost every state. I know about the Southwest. I don't know about others, but I know in the Southwest there are extension outlets. There are state veterinary centers. It might not necessarily be an hospital, but there is always a designated space. Not just, and it might not just be one in a state. I've seen like about 5 or 6 local governments that have designated veterinary centers. Okay. But people don't visit these places. I'm telling you that I believe rural areas, they have more access to cheap to affordable veterinary services compared to people in the urban centers. But they don't find these places. There are places like that. Maybe the government needs to just create more awareness that we have centers, we have veterinary outlets for mini livestock, especially livestock farmers. They are the ones that keep pets the most. When you see someone that has a couple of cows, they most likely have dogs that are helping them guard their cows.
Yes.
But the sad thing is, these farmers or these people, they're always looking for the quacks. They want the quacks because the quacks will charge lesser. They can charge them 50 naira per cow, per dog, 500 naira. So the problem is not that they do not have these veterinary services. The problem is they do not want to access it. They would rather visit quacks.
Okay, I also noticed there's a common challenge pets have. I mean, that's why I know you said you don't give medical advice online or as it were, but I'm saying some of these things are like first aid. Many of us will want to do. When you notice that your pet does not, for example, eat or exhibit activeness or alertness, what could be the sign? What could be the cause? Some of them, I know you may not.
When your pet does not what?
It's not active. It does not eat.
Okay.
It does not eat, for example, it's not less active. It's just docile, or it's not acting the way a normal pet will do. I'm talking pet now. I'm speaking generally. It could be a cat. It could be a dog. It could be a poultry. What are likely signs or causes that might lead to that?
Okay. The first thing is, before you even begin to think of drugs, the first question you should ask yourself is, what has changed? What did I change recently? Did the pattern of feeding change? Did you change the food you give? Or did you change, the person that feeds? You first need to check your environment. Okay, what am I doing differently? And if there is nothing you've done differently, let's say in the past 24 hours or 12 hours, then you can begin to look at, okay, what type of food am I giving? Is this the right food for this particular age? And if you see that your dog is inactive for at least 24 hours, it is expected you reach out to a veterinarian. And one of the questions, the first thing they ask you is food. Because many times, majority of the problem stems from food. Are you giving the right food? Are you giving the right proportion of food? Yeah. Are you giving at the right time? Or did you change your routine? See, dogs are very intelligent animals that if you were feeding them 9 a.m. before and you switch to 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., they might not eat the food. Okay. Sudden changes in their pattern can affect the activity. Now, if you can rule all of that out, then we can begin to look at, okay, what could be wrong? Is your dog vaccinated? Is it due for another vaccine? Has your dog been dewormed in recent time? Because ideally, for puppies, you should deworm at least every month until they are a year old. Now, for adult dogs, you should deworm at least every 3 months. So if a dog just suddenly stops eating, one of the first things you want to look at is the food. Then after that, you check your deworming record. Is the deworming up to date? Because sometimes when there is a high worm load, your dog's it comes with inappetence. Then if you can rule all of that out, then you might need to visit your veterinarian. So which is why I said we don't give diagnosis online, because you might just say, it's worms, and it's actually not worms until you see the animal and you examine, and you can then tell what the next. But we do not advise pet owners to self-medicate. It is not even advisable to tell them, oh, use this over the phone, or the best thing is to find a veterinarian or someone in the veterinary field that can.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Omolara. So just before we let you go, we need you to talk about the business aspects of pet care. You know, many people don't really want to go into it. They feel that it may not be that lucrative. But with the way everyone wants to own a pet right now, with the way every home right now, they want to have either a dog, a cat, or one animal, or domestic animal anyways, before Emmanuel will tell me snake. So how do you see the market, the business? Is it really something you would encourage young people to venture into?
Yes. We are not where we should be, but I believe we are getting there. I believe the pet business, it's a booming market. It has so much prospects, and I believe it can always get better. So we need more people to go into pet care, grooming, pet boarding. I believe it's a good market. It's a thriving economy for someone that is just starting up, or even if you are made already. I believe it's good business.
Okay.
Nowadays, people now keep pets. People now see pets as family, especially in urban centers, in cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Nairobi, Accra. Many people are now seeing the need to care for their pets. I think it's a good place to start. I think it's a business that you won't regret doing. Okay. And it should not just be limited to pet food and pet treats. We can include pet accessories. We need more pet grooming centers. Not all veterinary hospitals offer these services. So we need more people to go into the business, so that once they leave the hospitals, we can always recommend a grooming center for them. We need more pet boarding facilities, because we have people that travel and they need where to keep their pets until they are back. It's also a business anybody can venture into. Just get a good space, get good bedding materials, and you get money, you get paid per day. It's a very good business. It's a very good economy.
Okay, so we need you to just give your final word to someone out there, someone who is passionate about pets, but they're scared of having one. You, as a doctor, what's a word of encouragement do you have for someone who wants to go into the business, who wants to own a pet, who want to really take care of the one they have at home?
Well, I would say pet is family. Pets are family, especially dogs and cats. And it's one of the ways to, I believe it's one of the ways to give back to nature, to, just having something or someone to tend to, having an animal to tend to. Research has shown that keeping pets increases life expectancy. It's, having yes, research has shown that people who keep pets tend to live longer.
Okay, I'll buy more.
Because thank you for supporting me. So keeping pets is one of the ways to. It just makes life. It gives life more meaning. Having to wake up to. I believe, you knowing that this animal is looking up to me to live a good life, it gives more meaning to your life. So pet care is beautiful, and it's not so expensive. It is not expensive in the real sense.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Omolara. We've enjoyed this session with you. Thank you for coming on the show. So Dr. Bakare Omolara is a passionate veterinarian and digital advocate. She combines professional expertise with online education to change how people think about animal welfare. Her voice represents a new generation of veterinarians using social media to bridge knowledge gaps and encourage responsible pet ownership. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Bakare Omolara.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me.
All right.